Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Schmidt Lavelle. My name is Tom Lavelle, and I think that's my name. And as always, I'm accompanied by Mr. Timothy Schmidt.
Oh, oh, hello, Governor.
Hello, Governor. Taming of the Schmidt. What do you think? What do you think? Is that
Yeah.
a new show name we can call it?
Hey, hello, Spot T.
Blimey!
I've been told that I do really good accents.
Yeah,
Yeah, like my Australian accent is like unbelievable.
let's hear it.
Oh, to put another shrimp on the barbie.
All I hear is Captain Hook. Honestly, I love your Captain Hook impression, and I just hear like it's a variation of Captain Hook.
You should hear my Santa Claus.
Is he Australian?
No, but he's from some part of the country or the world that no one seems to understand.
I
Hello,
was
little boys and girls. It's Santa Claus. Oh.
You're fucking that's basically Coco from the Coco Krispies commercial. You're a Jamaican Santa Claus or something.
No.
My name
Hello.
is Santa and I deliver toys for all
No,
the good little girls and boys. Oh yeah.
there's a subtle difference. Listen, my name is Coco and I swing from the trees, right? And here's Santa, ready? Hello, little boys and girls. Welcome to Christmas. You've been a nice boy or girl? I hope so.
It is a little bit more like Russian. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I would
Yeah. It's like,
say a little more Middle Eastern.
yeah, Eastern European.
Eastern European, that's what I meant.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, everyone, I hope you enjoyed that little run of impressions that we were doing, some voices, and I hope you're enjoying the shows that we're putting out. Thank you for listening. On behalf of myself and Timmy, we appreciate all the love that we've been getting. It seems like people are liking the show more and more as the weeks go on, and they come up to us and they tell us and they text us. People that we haven't like necessarily seen in a while, and like we really appreciate it. Thank you for listening. If you're not already subscribing, this is your chance to go hit that subscribe button, that follow button, whatever it is, wherever you listen to us. Hit that follow, hit that subscribe. We're trying to build this show and we need you to help us do it. So thank you for listening. And we hope we keep putting out content that you like to hear. The hot button issues. Not necessarily. I've said that before, haven't I, Tim?
No, I don't think that's the first time. That might be the first time you dropped that. So
Okay. All right. Well, we have a lot to cover on this week's episode, but before we do that, I want to get into some of the comments from last week. First, a shout out to Mr. Heastiff who gave us an Attababe in the comments. We've asked you if you are liking what we're doing, shoot us an Attababe. We've gotten several Attababes over the last couple weeks, and we appreciate it. That's ATTABABE. Attababe. We want to give a shout out to that Eagles kids. He commented on our bachelor party video. He said 2 bachelor parties is a complete violation. Timmy, under certain circumstances, I would have to agree. But being that it was short, it wasn't so far away. It wasn't like 2 Vegas ones. You know what I mean? It's like
right.
mountain trip,
Yeah.
mountain trip. I'm always down for another party. So I wouldn't say it was necessarily a violation on your friend's half. Right?
No, and it's look, here's the other thing. It takes one person to put together the bachelor party. The guy isn't saying like, "Hey, I'm getting married." Like, I want another bachelor party. It's a friend that's taken upon himself to throw this guy a bachelor party. And hey, if everyone wants to follow suit, I'm all in for a party. Yeah.
Amen. That's right. We got another comment about our and probably our most viewed video of the week was the killer on the loose video, and how my wife was very concerned and basically thought that the killer was on his way to our house. From Nikki Lavelle, she commented, "Your poor wife." Now, for those of you, if you put it together, Nikki Lavelle, that is my wife. Thank you for the comment, Miss Nikki Lavelle. My poor wife. By the way, happy birthday, honey. I love you.
Look at this. Look at this platform that you have to wish your wife a happy birthday to
Oh
all those
man,
people. They're just putting your love out there, Tom. That's what you're doing.
it's what I do weekly. I
Yeah.
just put my love out there, and
And you
hopefully
know
it's
what,
contagious.
Tom, we sit down and we do these segments, right? We talk about what we're going to talk on the show. We don't really touch on the material. And that's not something that we talked about you doing. So you snuck that one right in there without anyone's permission. And you're taking valuable time up to wish your wife a happy birthday.
Well, Timmy, love is love, and you can't stop it. If I've learned one thing, it's that love, it shows itself in many different forms, whether it's a podcast or a card or flowers or whatever.
Mm.
And I can't control my love when I have it. And
Even
I
if
love
you're
you.
even if love can also mean letting your husband play golf every once in a while, that's a form of love.
That is a form of love, Timmy. Yes, I agree. Another form of love is we won't get into that. All right, so
Uh,
thank you for your comment, Miss Nikki Lavelle, and once again, happy birthday. We want to thank all the people that reached out to us this week on a video that we put out about basically a tease for this week's episode. We're going to be naming our top video games of all time. Originally, we thought it was going to be top 5, but I think we're going to move it to 10 because it's just impossible to come up with top. I think it's going to be impossible. We'll see how we do. We're on the fence right now, but 10 or 5. But we want to say thank you to Harry C627, Ryan Dolan, My City, Calejandro 1, 311 Phillies, S Madden 10, and Cupcheck 77. And then the other people that have texted us and reached out to us in other forms. We appreciate you reaching out and giving us your input. And hopefully you like the list we compile. If not, we'll make your own list and put it on your own show. Damn, that's not
rather
love.
that's rude.
That's rude. Ugh. You know what, Timmy? If I've learned anything, it's rude. Just you can't hide rude. All right, Timmy. Big weekend for us. A big weekend for me and you. Recently, we have both started to turn the corner. It's like we're getting back in shape. We're both in our 40s now. We're trying to get back some of the oomph that we might have lost. You know what I mean? Get those guns loaded back up, and I don't know what else
I
to
don't
say.
know what you're doing right now.
But I put out a video. I just had a workout, and what a piece of junk I am. And lo and behold, it motivated you to go put out your own workout video. And what did you do in that video, Timmy? Big
Well,
news.
I actually did I did a workout versus whatever you did, because it didn't look like you were sweating at all. It looked like you sat on a mower and mowed the grass maybe for like 25 minutes outside. Maybe you cleaned up your kids' toys or something, and that was your
Ugh,
workout for the
that
day.
is a workout.
But no, you know what? In that video, I'm tired. I'm tired of the people talking. I'm tired of actually, this being in my face like 24/7. And like my brother was talking about it the other day. He's like, "Oh, guess what? Oh, they got a new pickleball court downtown. It's in Center City." And I'm like, that's it. I'm done with this. And I just, you know what? I worked out and I thought about it, and I was like, you know what, dude? I'm taking this bum down. I'm taking him down to Chinatown, baby. It's me versus you, mano y mano, pickleball court, and I'm gonna whoop your ass, dude. It's gonna be ridiculous. I never even played the game, and I'm gonna shove that pickleball right up your ass and beat you soundly.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you're taking the challenge. I certainly hope what you just described doesn't happen. But I'm excited. Now you said 6 weeks, Timmy. 6 weeks is a good amount of time. I know in the grand scheme of things, 6 weeks is nothing, but 6 weeks, we're going into November playing
Yeah,
playing pickleball. So
yeah.
we're gonna have to come up with a date, but it's roughly gonna be 6 weeks from today. And we will figure out when and where we're gonna play, and we're certainly gonna be recording. And that'll be a special episode of Schmidt Lavelle, the pickleball challenge, the pickleball showdown. Now, Tim, before we play that, are we doing one game or are we going to do like a best of three, or how we doing that? I mean, we
I
can
don't even
figure
know
that
how
out
I don't
later.
even know how this leisurely activity works. So I don't what does a game take like 8 minutes or
The
something?
games are to 11, and
Mm,
similar to volleyball, the only
mm,
way to score is when you're serving.
mm.
So that makes the game last a little bit longer. But yeah, I would say a game shouldn't take more than 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think I mean, look, this is going to be. I think we should get this should be a ticketed event. I think we should
Ooh.
sell tickets, and we should donate the money to our favorite charity,
Ooh.
Toys for Tom.
I wonder maybe we can get some other people to play in this pickleball event,
A
and
high profile match. We could pick some neighborhood people, maybe. Maybe we get the glove in there.
some ballers, and they can go against each other in similar matches, obviously with the main event being Schmidt versus Lavelle, the pickleball showdown. We'll have to see where that goes, but we will definitely keep you in tune. Tune, tune. We'll posted. We're gonna keep you posted, not tuned. Posted.
No, we'll yeah, we'll keep you. Yeah, we'll keep you posted. Yeah,
Yeah. All right, Tim. Big weekend. Big weekend for me and my family. Obviously, I mentioned my wife's birthday, but another big birthday. My son. My son Benny now is 1 years old. I have a 6 year old and I have a 1 year old. 1 year old's a pretty big mark for a child, for a parent, really. They got through the first year, and I would say those birthdays are more for the parents, right?
yeah, I guess.
Timmy, I'm sensing a little animosity. For those of you listening, we had a big party, a big blowout catered by CJ and X Catering. Shout out to CJ and X Catering. Great food. What you gonna do, brother, when CJ and X Caterings comes for you? I don't know. Something like that. CJ and X, it was great. Talked to Timmy Spence. I loved it. I told him I would give him a shout out on the show. So we got the pulled pork, we got the chicken cutlets, we got the mac and cheese. I did the cool. If you follow us on Instagram, I posted that the Blackstone grill with the nachos on it. That was a hit. People
Yeah.
loved that. They could go
Look,
up, they could make their nachos. We had the cases of beer, we had the lights set up, we had the party, we had stuff for the kids to do. We had everyone had a beautiful day, beautiful time. And I don't think we missed anything, Timmy. I think we just had a great party, and everyone was there that I could hope to be there. And
yeah, yeah. Well, this is where I have a little issue with your little party there, Tom, because we've been doing the show for quite some time. We've been acquaintances for a while, but we've our friendship has really
blossomed.
blossomed over the
Yeah.
over the last few months, and we talk all the time. And it's funny because this weekend the party was he's telling me about the planning for the party and checked my mailbox, looked at my text messages. I didn't see an invite. I didn't see, hey, Tim, why don't you stop on by? It's Mickey or it's Benny's birthday. Like, hey, maybe you can swing by and say hi. And maybe the people wanted to see Schmidt and Lavelle together out in public for the first time, besides the local drinking water hole, which is Grams. But I mean, what
Well, Timmy,
gives?
well, here, hold on a second. Are we saying we're in our relationship now to where we're inviting each other to, I guess, these events that happen in our lives? Like I said, a 1 year old birthday, that's a milestone for a family here, and we're going on, like we're having these things. Is this, I mean, are we there? Have we reached it? I struggle in the relationship phase of things sometimes, where I don't want to be that, too, I don't want to be that guy that you're like, oh,
Listen here.
great, Tom's one year
Here's a
old kid's birthday.
here's the deal. I have two daughters of my own, and I had them this weekend. And I mean, there's probably not much for them to do at a 1 year old birthday party. So I get the snub, okay, if you will. But listen, I mean, Christmas comes around, I'm expecting a gift possibly from my buddy, you know?
Oh man. Well, but see, now here's the thing. I am now it's like you only got the gift because I mentioned it on the show, you know?
Well, it guarantees me a gift because the people heard it.
The
But,
gift that is Schmidt and Lavelle. Um, Timmy, so I guess basically you're saying that you would have liked the invite.
yeah, I mean, an invitation, if you will. Like, hey, if you want to come, I mean, you're more than welcome to. But like, I know that's also a backhanded invitation saying, like, look, you don't really have to come. You know what I mean? Like, I get it, but I think the courtesy, the extension of the invite would be nice.
You would have liked to at least been able to decline.
Yes, that would have been key. I just was disappointed that I didn't see anything come across. So it's okay. That's all right. I guess we'll
Now
take
you know
another.
where we stand.
Yeah, yeah, I know where we're at. But I mean, I don't know. As the months go on, we'll see where it develops in our friendship.
What are you doing for Thanksgiving, Tim? Maybe a swing.
You cooking another turkey on the black scone or something like that? Turkey nachos,
Turkey nachos.
idiot.
Timmy, you had quite the weekend as well. You said you had the
Hold
girls
on, hold
and
on, hold on, hold on,
uh-oh,
hold on,
not
hold
off the
on. No,
hook.
no.
Here we go.
Let's stick with this here real quick because
Okay.
I'm really curious because I don't know why people do this.
Okay.
Um, and you're now embarking because Benny is now one. So now this is a big moment for you. And I need you to answer a crucial question for me.
Okay.
So next month, right?
Right.
Benny's going to be 1 year and 1 month old, or
Right.
are you going with the 13 months?
Oh, I think I would probably just keep it at I probably would say 13 months, but I probably would necessarily say he's one. You know what I mean? I wouldn't
Yeah.
even say 1 in 1 month. I would just say he's one.
Why why does that happen? Why did people continue to go with the months after they turn one? Why does that happen?
I don't know. And I don't know necessarily why I need you know what it is? Because you get comments, okay? So I'm waiting on the comment back when someone asks me how old Benny is. He's a big kid. He's a big boy, right? He's 90 something percentile and all his shit. And so when I tell people his age, they're like, wow, he's big. So when they're going to ask me his age, I might clarify his exact age to kind of get on the comment coming. I had to do the same thing with my other kid, but it was the opposite. He's very small. And so I would have to say, oh, it's an awkward thing. Like when you have a kid and you see another kid and you're maybe at a playground and the parents there and you're just
So you
bullshitting.
so this must be a medical driven deal.
Yeah, I don't
It
know.
it has to be because there's no other. I mean, after what 16 months or
You're no
what?
longer on months, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You're yeah.
Like when does it change? It goes from like, hey, like, look, Tom, I'm 41 years old, right? What's
Yeah.
that? I mean, what's that? 12 times 4.
It's a lot.
That's 48. What am I? 4,812 months old? Like, what are we doing here? I don't
Maybe
understand.
we should start going by the months, right?
Yeah,
That would
I,
be that would be great.
I
Yeah,
just
we're both about 1,200 so many months, whatever.
like your kid's 50 or let's see, what's it, 18 months? Guess what? He's a year and a half. All right.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that. All right.
Yeah.
Or like a year and a quarter, a year and 3/4. Like, I don't understand the whole months thing,
I'm like
but
482 months old, whatever.
yeah,
No big deal.
I'm getting real up. I'm getting up there.
Let's get past the months and let's just keep it to a nice round one. But see, I guess it all depends on where he's at. If he's a year and a half, he's a year and a half. I guess I would say a year and a half. So probably from 1 to a year and a half is where I will slip in some months here. 13 months. He's a year. He just turned a year old. He's a year and a couple months or whatever. His birthday is this day. His social security number is, whatever.
Well,
People asking
I can't
stupid
wait.
ass questions.
I can't wait because this month on the September 26th, I'll be 41. I'll be 4172 months, 4,172 months old. So that's huge.
Wow.
Do you
You
want to?
won't
You
be, Timmy. Timmy,
do
you're
you,
not going to be
do
that old.
you want
Let
to
me think about
celebrate?
it.
You want
You're
to
not
celebrate with me?
4,000. Dude, do you know how old you would be in
I,
months by 4,000? That's a lot, dude. You're talking 400.
Whatever.
Yeah. Holy shit. What are you, a vampire? Because if you're 100, if at 10 years old, 10 times 12, that's 120 months. So then 20 would be
All
240.
right. I mean, you're taking it a little far.
Yeah.
I'm just being
480. You're not 4,000. You mixed up, you added a zero.
okay.
You
A
son
lot
of a.
younger than I thought.
Yeah. You're still a baby.
Plenty of
Yeah.
life left here, Tom.
Yeah. All right. Timmy, you said you had the girls and you took the girls to a carnival. Is that where you headed? Where'd you go, Tim, with the
Well,
girls here?
we had soccer again on Saturday by and whew, what a beaut we had on Saturday, huh? Beautiful, nice crisp air in the morning. Yeah, that was just
Ah,
such a what a difference between the last soccer game and this soccer game. It was just like yeah, some people were wearing sweatshirts, Tom, but
love a
yeah,
sweatshirt.
yeah, so we're getting close. But we went after soccer, we went to the Spring Mill uh carnival, which was like right over there in Lafayette Hill. And big shout out to them to the fire department over there that they put on this nice little carnival for I mean, it was a as my girlfriend's sister said, it was cute. It was a cute little carnival. There's a couple games there. I mean, total ripoff though, by the way, like super expensive. $7 for a lemonade. I felt like I was at Wells Fargo Center, like trying to buy a beer. Um, but like, dude, the rides there for the first time in my life, I felt like I was gonna die. I felt like I was gonna be the leading story on like the local news, like local man injured, riding this death trap of a ride. It was like the scariest shit I've ever been
So
involved
this
in.
is like a mom and pop carnival kind of thing, and
Yeah.
they're setting up the rides and the people you're looking like. I'm very wary of that now. When I go to a local carnival, I start looking at the carnies, and I'm like, this dude's the one that's setting up. The guy that everyone thinks is like kind of a pedophile is the one that we're gonna trust here.
Yeah. And look, I'm all for a little carnival. Like my kids are so over like the small little like we've graduated from Ocean City, boardwalk. If you know Ocean City, their rides are very catered to, a younger child, like anywhere between like 4 and like 8, right? Like the small little Dixie cups and all the little shit like that.
Yeah,
My kids are on like roller coasters now. They're doing like Maurice Pier shit, like ready to go, right? And
loops and twists
yeah,
and turns. Yeah,
yeah. And so if you know like these small little carnivals, these little mom and pop carnivals, they have like the standard like 4 rides. Like you have the slide, yeah, with the potato sack
yeah.
that you go down, right? And then you have like the merry-go-round usually is one, and then like
The gravitron. Blech.
Gravitron's one, and then like the zipper. You remember the zipper?
The zipper.
Dude, it's like you get locked in this like steel cage and it's a 2-man cage and the zipper
Oh yeah,
like spins around and it's like on
yeah.
like a rotating thing. So like this is essentially
Were
like
you in that? Did you get in
so
that thing?
it was very similar to the zipper, and I'll send you a photo. Maybe you can attach it to what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But this thing, I can't even describe it because I've never seen this ride ever in my life. I don't even know what it's called. But I knew when I was getting in this thing, I'm like, this is going to be the worst ride of my life. And dude, there hasn't been a ride that I've gotten on that I've disliked. I love rides. I'm a thrill seeker. Like true and true, dude. I'll get on anything and I'll do it all. I'm sitting in this thing with my daughter, and like we're in the same we're in seats, right? The harness comes down, and then they close this gate on the right side of me, and it shuts down, and there's like plexiglass above me, and it just seemed like it. Like they're like, you know what, this thing, the zipper's down. Let's bring this thing out. We haven't used it since '86. Like, let's fire that one up.
It's all rusted.
Yeah. And again, dude,
Timmy,
so
how much room did you have in this thing?
none. There's no
That's what I was
room.
gonna say. The zipper,
No.
like you're
And I'm a
trapped in there.
big ass
Yeah,
dude. And
yeah,
like, dude, the thing goes around. It's like I don't, do you know the salt and pepper shaker? Like you ever you
yeah.
know what I'm like the thing that goes all the way around and all the way around. It just keeps on going. It goes upside down. This is what this thing was. And dude, I'll show you a picture. There's a
I
picture of
thought
me.
that's what the zipper was. I thought that's what you were describing.
Well, yeah, it's
Are they
that too.
similar?
It's very similar.
Except you go upside down in a salt and pepper one.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm upside down and I'm literally falling out of my harness, like because this thing is just used like a seatbelt holds you in, and like I'm holding on to the top of this thing and I'm like sweating, dude, because like I feel like I'm just gonna fall out of the gate. Dude, I was nervous. Like first time I was ever nervous on a ride before. Like I'm like, this is gonna be it for me. And I'm trying to hold my daughter in her seat and I'm holding up and I'm dude, it was like a shoulder workout, and I'm on this thing for like 3 minutes just praying this ride
Oh
just
my
is over. Like
God.
just
Just end the
please,
ride.
please, like let me off of this thing. It's the first time I ever really experienced that, like with a ride, and it was borderline the worst thing I've ever been on. Thank God we got out unscathed, but like, dude, like I felt injured after the ride. I was like so like I was sweating and like my shoulders were like strained and my back was all beat up from like being upside down and inside out, and it was just a nightmare.
So you're basically it you're in a
It's
like
like a cage.
cylinder, yeah, in a cage. And the only thing is a strap like a seatbelt holding you while you're
Now
upside
there
down.
was there was a harness that came down, but the harness had a seatbelt at the bottom, which
Yeah.
strapped between your legs. So there's a buckle between your legs. But like, dude, it was old school. Like, no one came around to check the bar to see it was in place.
Oh my
Like,
God.
you know how like on usual rides they come over, check the lap bar to make sure it's like in place. Like, no one checked that out. Like, oh god,
Here we go.
we're in a bad spot right now.
Well, you survived it, Timmy, and that's all that
Mm,
matters, right?
it's true, very true.
All right, Timmy. Since you survived the zipper salt pepper shaker upside down cage, we're going to get on to teams and some that are surviving and thriving and some that are barely holding on. Right now, we're going to go through what is the best 0-2 teams in the NFL and the worst 2-0 teams in the NFL. Timmy, which would you like to start with? Would you like to start with the best 0-2 teams or the worst 2-0 team? Which one would you like to start with?
Let's go from the worst to the best.
Okay, so I'm going to name you the 0-2 teams currently in the NFL: the Texans, the Bengals, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Patriots, the Cardinals, the Bears, the Vikings, and the Panthers. There are 9 teams that are 0-2 in the NFL right now. I just named them all. Timmy, give me the best 0-2 team right now in the NFL.
Best 0-2 team right now are easily the Bengals. They have the most talent. They're the best team. They're just, I mean, they're trying to find their way here. Yeah, they're on the other side of what I said last week about teams going through rust and trying to shake off the rust, getting into no preseason. You have Joe Burrow, who had a calf injury, didn't play any of the preseason, and looks like he just re-aggravated that injury. He might not play. So they're in like they're in a tough spot because if he doesn't play, there's another opportunity for them to lose another game. And when you go 0-3, and you have a team like that, it's hard to come back because their schedule is pretty tough too as well. It's they're in a tough spot, and they're going to have to win some games in the next couple weeks here to get them back to where they need to be, because they were preseason Super Bowl contenders from every pundit, from every different you know platform, CBS, Fox, everyone. Like, yeah, they had that team up there, but they're they're in a tough spot right now.
Yeah, and I would agree with you, Timmy. That's the first one that jumped out at me. But with Joe Burrow's injury, if he's hurt, then that's going to be the nail in the coffin for the Bengals, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with a different team just because of Joe Burrow's health. If he's hurt and he's not playing this week and they're going 0-3, I'm going to go with the New England Patriots. I think their defense is pretty good. They've lost two close games. They have obviously Bill Belichick as their coach, greatest of all time, and they've lost to two tough teams, the Eagles and the Dolphins, who we're going to be talking about later, the Eagles and the Dolphins. So I'm going to go with the Patriots. I think they have a really good defense. I think they're not fully clicking on offense, and they just lost two close games and kind of had a chance to come back and win or at least tie those games at the end and just fell short. So I think they'll turn it
Yeah,
around.
yeah, and then the other team that's worth mentioning is obviously the Chargers.
Chargers.
I mean, Justin Herbert, the quarterback, who's just got a big time deal. They have a really solid defense. Their offense is potent. They just, I think, made a trade too. I think oh no, that was the Rams, but yeah, they're a top level team too.
Akers
That
get traded
Akers got traded, yeah,
to the Browns.
to the Vikings.
Oh, wow.
um, but yeah, they're another team that finds himself at 0-2 after the first 2 weeks of the season. They lost to the Titans. They lost to the Dolphins in the first week, which was a shootout.
Right.
But yeah, they lost both those games, I think, on one score game. So like it's tough to the NFL. Like I said, it's tough to win in this league, and everyone's complaining about the Eagles. You could obviously be 0-2 like the Chargers or the Bengals with Super Bowl aspirations, and they're behind the eight ball right now, only 2 weeks into the season.
Yep. And so, Timmy, those would be, if we were going to name three teams that are the top three, I would agree with those three teams. Bengals is Patriots. Would you say that's your third team then of that listed? Texans, Broncos, Cardinals, Bears, Vikings, Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings won 13 games last year, with almost the same roster minus Dalvin Cook. Yeah, their defense has changed up a little bit. So I'm surprised to see them at 0-2, but I mean, obviously they play the Eagles, which is a tough matchup. I'll put them and probably the Patriots in the same category. The Patriots are a decent team, man. Their defense is good, like you said. And they're coached by a Hall of Famer, arguably the greatest of all time. They should get it back to where it needs to be, and I think they're going to be a middle tier team
I
at the
think they're
end of
going
the
to end
year.
up like 500, but that's just because they got a tough division and a tough team. So let's move on. We're gonna say the worst 2-0 teams. Now, a lot of teams off to a hot start, maybe teams that you wouldn't think, and we're gonna name the worst 2-0 teams. I guess we'll try to come down to three as well of the worst 2-0 teams. So, worst 2-0 teams. We've got 2-0 Ravens, Dolphins, Bucks, Saints, Falcons, 49ers, Commanders, Eagles, Cowboys. Timmy, what's the worst 2-0 team out there?
It's got to be the Bucks. Um, or I'm sorry. Yeah, between the Bucks and I would say the Falcons. I believe in the Commanders. I think they're a really a good team on the rise. They have a quarterback down there. He seems to be okay. He's found his footing a little bit. But I just think the Bucks and the Falcons are kind of a product of their schedule, in my opinion. I I believe in the Falcons and their running game. I don't believe in the quarterback down there. His name's Desmond Ritter. He's a second-year quarterback. I just think they play tougher defenses. He's going to crumble. Um, the Baker Mayfield Bucks thing is interesting because he's playing pretty sound football right out the gate.
Hmm.
And people I don't think expected that. There was talk that he might not even win the starting job in preseason.
Right.
He's come and he's played pretty solid football out, like the first two games. And he does have a solid receiving core down there with Godwin and Mike Evans. And, yeah, he's got some weapons down there, and he's utilizing them. And they're on the same page. But we'll see how it plays out. But I mean, I don't expect them to be 0-2 coming into this, or to be undefeated coming into the next week because they got the Eagles at Philly. So that's going to be a tough game on Monday night.
Yeah, and they've beaten the Vikings and the Bears, who the Bears have struggled. They've been a letdown this year. I thought they might be a little bit better. Bucks, Falcons, I like it, but Timmy, I guess between the third worst, I would say is I would go with the Commanders or the Saints. I know the Saints are in the same division as the Falcons and the Bucks, but I just feel like the Saints and the Commanders would round out that list of the worst 2-0 teams to me. The Ravens, I like their coach. I think Harbaugh is a really good coach. They're going to be a tough defense, and they can run the ball, and they're a tough team to beat. They struggle when they go against the very top tier, but when it,
Why do you think the Saints are a bad team?
I think the Saints, I probably shouldn't think the Saints are a bad team. It's probably because they weren't that good last year. And I'm
Well,
just not convinced that they are good this year. Who did they beat so far? I'm drawing a blank on who they've beaten, but Derek Carr's their quarterback, right? And
yep,
they have Michael Thomas, who's healthy now, and they're winning without an Alvin Kamara, who's going to be coming off suspension in a couple weeks.
yeah.
So maybe they're better than I think, but
So they beat the Titans and they beat the Panthers, which
the
the
Titans are
Panthers
tough. The Titans are
Titans
a
are
tough team.
yeah. Yeah, my thing is with the Saints, I think they're only going to get better, to be honest. They're, like you said, Derek Carr is a quarterback. He's he's been, a fringe top 15 quarterback in the league. He has solid weapons. He's got Chris Olave down there, Michael Thomas. Um, Alvin Kamara's not even playing. They had Jamal Williams playing running back. I think he got hurt too. But their defense has always been solid. I think they're only going to get better. It they if any of these teams that are 2-0, we're calling this like the worst 2-0 teams. I think they have the ability to sustain it um, throughout the season. I mean, they didn't have great quarterback play last year. They were relying on certain guys to step in there and fill in. I think they had Jameis Winston playing quarterback last year. A couple other guys. It was just a mess down there.
Well,
But
I would say this, Timmy. I would say I think the Saints are going to win their division. Okay. I think they're going to win the NFC South. But I think when you're talking about, so in that division is the Falcons and the Bucks, which were the two that we named for the worst 2-0 team. But when you're talking about Cowboys, Eagles, 49ers, Dolphins, Ravens, I don't think the Saints are better than any of those teams.
no, 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 not at all.
So that's why I put them in that list. But I guess I would have to go Falcons, Bucks, Commanders then. And then the Saints. I put them in the same level as the Commanders, where I think they're a decent team, but I don't think they're going to make any noise in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. The
But I
NFC
bet
East,
you they
right?
win their division. I think you're right. I think they have the best road to their division. You know what I mean? Like they could
Right now,
have a nice record.
and it's interesting to note right now, like the NFC East is 7-1 right now. And last year, yeah, they predicted the NFC East to be the worst division in football. And last year, yeah, we were the best division in football, and it seems to be heading in that direction again this year, Tom.
Well,
So it's
Timmy,
not going to be an
historically, we're
easy
the
road.
we're the greatest division in the history of the NFL is the NFC East.
Oh,
No doubt about it.
nice.
Um, so all of our teams have won a Super Bowl. A lot of them have won multiple Super Bowls. Unfortunately, not us, but we've been very, very good in the last, obviously making it to the Super Bowl last year. Timmy, who is the best team in the NFL right now?
I'm not going to say the Cowboys. Is that what you're trying to get me to say? Is that what
I'm
you're going
not
to try
trying
to
to
get
get.
me?
I'm trying to get you to say what you really think is the best team in the
All right.
NFL right now.
I'm going to say probably the Niners are the best team right now. You know, they like the Eagles, their wins haven't really been that convincing. Yeah, the Vikings win was definitely a lot better than the previous week against the Patriots, and yeah, the Eagles showed you that they can do it in a different manner. They just ran the ball straight down the Vikings' throat, which was great to see, especially for anyone that loves old school football. That was old school smash mouth football. Um, and the holes were gaping. But if I'm talking about like the most impressive team out the gate so far, I would have to say it would probably be the Niners. And that pains me to say, I'm waiting for these guys. I'm waiting for Brock Purdy to throw in a clunker. Like he's just playing mistake free football, and he has been since last season. I thought that he would have a little bit of rust with the injury to the elbow, but he's just playing really sound football at the quarterback position, which you need to win in the NFL. And I would say right now the Dolphins are really impressive too so far. Um,
I would agree with that.
yeah, both those teams are playing well. The Dolphins offense is just like so dynamic, man. It's hard to stop.
Same
With
with
those
the
two.
49ers. I think that's where they kind of separate.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the Eagles offense is on par with those. We just haven't really seen the explosiveness that we saw last year. Yeah, with AJ Brown, Dale Scott, or everyone on the same page. So I think we'll see that soon enough, and we'll start seeing Jalen Hurts and in his old last year performances like he had from last year. But I just think it's going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah. Wait, I did I miss a team right there? I might have messed up, Tim.
What do you mean?
Are the Detroit Lions 2-0?
No.
Oh, they lost to the Seahawks. For some
Mm-hmm.
reason I thought they had won against the Seahawks. Okay, just making sure. Timmy, I would say I'm going to agree with the 49ers. The Cowboys defense has looked really good. However, they played against the two New York teams. The Giants won. I think the Giants are tougher than that first game showed against the Cowboys. Sometimes people throw up clunkers, and that's just the way it is. Um, the Jets, obviously, without Aaron Rodgers, they're going to be struggling offensively. The Cowboys D, Micah Parsons is pretty incredible to watch, you know. But they're saying that Parsons, I forget the guy from the Detroit Lions. He's a superstar. He's a stud. Their D lineman and Carter are the three most pressuring the quarterbacks in the league right now. So that's something that's exciting to me that we're getting after the quarterback. And I think the formula to beat the Cowboys with Micah Parsons in that defense is to run the ball right down their throat. You know, I'm not worried about a pass rush when we're going to run it right by you.
Yeah, look, it's
And we're
gonna
going to get to
be
Dak.
yeah, the season is certainly gonna come down to there's a stretch of like 6 games where the Eagles play the Dolphins, they play the Niners, the Cowboys twice. Um, it's a hell of a stretch. The Chiefs and the Bills, which is a brutal stretch for any team. Um, and if they come out of that at least 500, I think they're in a good spot. But look, you can't really talk about that Cowboys game. We got to get to it first before we start talking about it. But yeah, the Cowboys have looked good. I can't deny that. But I'm contractually obligated to not speak positively on any of those Dallas teams. So
That's right. So I would agree with you. I'm looking at the 49ers and the Dolphins right now, and then we're right on the edge of that. We've found a way to win, and hopefully this week on Monday night, and maybe you folks will get to see some videos of me and Timmy watching the game together. We don't know. We talked about it a little bit today. Um, we'll see if we'll get out together. Timmy is a fanatic Eagles fan, so he does like to be there, be able to hear the commentary. Maybe we'll get some wings and eat them aggressively together. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right, Timmy. This is going to bring us to our main event. This is what the show's all about. This is what everyone's been talking about. We teased this on last week's episode. We put out videos, and we're getting down now. We're going to be naming our top retro video games, as we're calling them retro video games of all time. That's 16-bit or less. We're talking Nintendo, Sega, Super Nintendo, and below, right? So, Timmy, before we get into that, let's talk about what makes a great video game and why we're choosing this. And I'm going to start first here. I'm going to say that to me it's the nostalgia. It's what I grew up playing. It's the memories I have playing the games and being with my friends or being at an arcade or being somewhere, or the games I learned to master by myself so I could get through it and win the game. And the classics. You get points for me for being an all-time classic, for being an original, for being one of the first games. That's kind of how I'm going to be putting my list together.
mhm.
Do you have any comments on that, or where you're going? Is that kind of where you're headed to, or?
I'm not just gonna look. I'm not going chalk because it's what everyone thinks. I like this is the way I do on my list, right? Like I do it based on my opinion. Okay. I'm not like going to take a list from some website and say, like, oh, look, they had these top 10. So it has to be, that has to be my top 10. My top 10 are the games that I grew up loving, loving playing these games. Like I might have been playing this game more than any other kid in the world. But guess what? It was my game that entertained me, and I could sit there and play it for 3 hours until the Nintendo got super hot, and
I
like
love it.
I'd have to turn it off because it was so hot that like I would get yelled at from my mom to like, what are you doing up there? You've been on that game forever. Sorry, mom. I'm on level 7. I can't beat this damn boss. He's so hard.
Timmy, I love it, and we're gonna compile a list together. I think we're gonna try to come up with Schmidt Lavelle's top 10 retro video games of all time. Timmy, would you like to start with your first game that you're gonna throw into the Coliseum, into the gauntlet, into the fire?
So the one game, and again, this is going to be, if there's any games that have multiples, like consider like just the franchise. Okay.
Okay,
So,
yes, I agree with that. Okay,
so
and we'll obviously be naming some of those.
yeah, we can um divulge into that. But the one game that I thought was the most breaking game for me, I had Sega Genesis. Okay. And this was the first game where I was like, dude, this game is unbelievable. And that is Mortal Kombat.
Oh, what a game, Timmy. Yes. Oh, has to be in it. I love Mortal Kombat. That was on my list. Definite top 10. Timmy, I remember the sleepovers with my boys, and we
Uh,
got the magazine with the codes to be able to put in the extra
uh,
blood, and we knew how
uh,
to do the finishers,
yeah.
right?
And look, Mortal Kombat 1 is the original, but I would probably say Mortal Kombat 2 was really where the game took off, because in that first Mortal Kombat, I think there was like only 8 characters. It was like Raiden, Johnny Cage, Liu Kang, right? And they only had one finisher. When they went Mortal Kombat,
Sub-Zero,
yeah,
Scorpion.
Scorpion,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Sonya. And then when they went to Mortal Kombat 2 and they added like all those characters and
Reptile.
Sao Shing and like or Shang, I forget what his name was.
Whatever.
Whatever. But when you started adding in those characters, and then you had like the fatalities, and then the babalities, and like all the other stuff that like came with it, like every guy had like a different finishing move. Like there's three different ones for each guy. It was just such a cool game, and you could just play it all day long against your friends, and like you could play it in tournament mode, and like, you would just have to climb the mountain to beat like the number one boss at the end of the game. It was just a really cool like, fighting style game that I loved.
I agree, Timmy. I remember vividly the first time that game came out, and I think my friends got it. I want to say it was right around Halloween,
Yeah.
and we had gotten it, and we had a sleepover and rented it or whatever, and we were up all night playing it, trying to get the codes, fighting each other. It was awesome. Love that
One
game.
of one of my other memories, and this has everything to do with one of the listeners, he stiff Huxtable. So me, him, and my brother would sit up in my attic, and we'd play Mortal Kombat for hours and listen to Wu-Tang Clan. Like that was like what we did. We would just go up, play Wu-Tang, and just beat the shit out of each other in Mortal Kombat. It was just like we couldn't turn it off. So shout out to Heath if he remembers that. I'm sure he'll comment on this video.
Ah, he's stiff. My man, Mortal Kombat and Wu-Tang. Is there a better combination?
I don't think
Seriously.
so.
Think about that. That's
Yeah.
incredible, Timmy. What a story. And this is exactly why we're compiling this list for those of you listening. All right, Timmy, I'm going to throw one out there, and this one may not be I'm starting from like my fringe, okay, and then moving down. All right. So I'm gonna throw this one out there, and this is a game that's great to me, and I shouldn't say it's fringe, but I'm gonna go FIFA 95, specifically 95, but the FIFA soccer games, EA Sports. Me and my friends loved playing these games in World Cup and all this other stuff. It was great tournaments. We'd be over. I was a soccer player, and we would get in the tournaments, and we would start going, and we would have our games, and just that iconic, dare I say that, like this, EA Sports. It's in the game, and that's how the game started, and we were ready. And so I'm going to throw out FIFA 95. Timmy, I know you're a big football guy. Did you ever play any of the FIFA soccer games?
I played FIFA only on I think it was PlayStation, or it had been May it was I think it was on the Xbox actually. I played it. And I think the Xbox game was just phenomenal. But never played FIFA growing up. Wasn't interested in it, hated soccer. So that would not make my list.
And Timmy, we're going to be putting these lists out there, and we'll when we get to the end, maybe we'll have 12 or 13 or something like that. But I will be fighting for FIFA. But that was a game that I grew up playing and I loved, and I feel like there's a lot of people out there that love FIFA 90 or FIFA in general. But 95 was my year. Sega.
I will say, okay, so let's stick with the EA sports team. My second game is going to be anything Madden. Any Madden that was put out, especially from Sega, was great. And yeah, there was different eras of Madden. Everyone knows this. Like Madden football was incredible. You could like return punts with Bruce Smith. I remember like Bruce Smith had like 99 speed, and I would drop him back. I'd play regular defense and drop him back, return punts with him, and score touchdowns. Like that was ridiculous. And then like anytime someone would get hurt, like an ambulance would come on and like hit every player that was on the field. It was just like a snow plow just coming on the field, knocking out
That's
players left and right.
awesome.
So Madden, any Madden, probably Madden 94 or 93 was really good for me. And honestly, those games really taught you about like football, like understanding play design and stuff like that. And they still do that to this day.
Well, Timmy, I'm going to throw this one out right now. Obviously, I love Madden and an incredible um games that have just gone on, and every year people go out and they go crazy over Madden. And I don't know if we have to come down with the decision. I would say Madden kind of took off for me a little bit more after the Sega, and I'm talking into like a PlayStation or a 64 or something along those lines. for me, the football game for the games we're talking about is Tecmo Super Bowl. The Tecmo football games. I mean, I loved those games. I loved when you picked the play that they picked and you could get the
Hmm.
sack right away and just the fun of those games. I remember playing my buddy and we would be sitting there playing and just like basically almost breaking out in a fist fight if whoever won or lost and picking your teams and stuff like that. That game to me is nostalgia. It's a storied game. It's one that I loved. One of the OGs of the retro sports games that we're talking about, and I love it. I love that game. To me, that game must be on this list.
Tom, Super Tecmo Bowl is number one on my NES list, and it's for that reason. You could, I don't know if you remember this, but it was like one of the first games that really kept stats. And
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
yeah, and you could play an entire season, and yeah, you would have like all the like the passing leaders and the rushing leaders and all that, and how many touchdowns. And then like I remember, like if you played an entire season, you could sit there with your buddies, and there's 32 teams, right? Well, at that point there was probably 30, but um, you could select man on every team, and if you had 30 of your friends, you could sit there and play an entire season, man versus man, like dude, for hours and hours and hours. Like obviously you couldn't do it, but you could select every team and you could have as many people as you want playing that entire season. You make the playoffs, the whole deal. And the journey was the greatest because like one of your players would get hurt and like you'd be like, oh my God, Thurman Thomas is out for the season or out for whatever, a couple weeks. And then, week 7, before you started the game, it would show like Thurman Thomas running from the hospital, and it's like Thurman Thomas is back, and you're like, God, it's like God, I got dude, he's running.
Yes.
Dude, Thurman Thomas running out of the hospital with his pads on and his helmet on, and he's like running like Thurman Thomas is back, and you're like, ah.
Oh man.
But
And
like
that
the
just
guy,
makes you think about old school football too and how great it used to be, the injury, but
yeah,
like the hitting and the
yeah,
the just like the football that used to be in that game. And like Timmy, we've talked about the fall weather and that crisp cool air, and you're playing a little
yes.
Tecmo Super Tecmo Bowl.
Dude, there is. So I will have to say this. There's a, if you ever get a chance, there is um an old school video game store in Glenside, and I think it's called Game Junkie, and they make a a brand new version. I think they do an updated Super Tecmo for Nintendo for the NES system,
Really?
where they update all the rosters, and like you could literally play with like the Eagles right now. Jalen Hurts as your quarterback, all that stuff. So they do like an updated version. It's a
Two
really cool.
player?
Yeah, yeah. It's
So,
the normal Super Tecmo game. All they do is they go in and they just edit all the teams and add the players and the attributes and stuff like that.
oh man, Timmy, maybe we can get a season going. We can be the Eagles and oh man, listen to some Wu-Tang and all right, Timmy. So I said Super Tecmo Bowl. We both
Like,
obviously love that game.
yeah.
You're up. Give me another one. We've named 4 so far. Mortal Kombat, FIFA 95, Madden, Tecmo Super Bowl.
All right, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna bounce over to Nintendo again, and I'm gonna go with Tyson's Punch Out. I mean,
It's
it's
on my
just
list.
it's undeniably one of the most entertaining games of all time. I still have yet to beat Tyson. Never beat him, never could beat him. I know the code to get to him, but I to this day I still have not beaten Mike Tyson.
Wow. I mean, I have beaten Mike Tyson, Timmy, but I'm a man. And so that game is nostalgia, nostalgia, nostalgia. I love that game. Mike Tyson, fun game, and you have the guys that get hit and they like quiver and they go into the side, and then the one guy's pants drops, and it's just like
You
it's
got
just
Don Flamenco, you got King Hippo, you got Bull
King
Bull,
Hippo.
you got Piston Honda, like all the Glass Joe, like all these guys were just like incredible. The Sandman, Super Macho Man was in there. Um, you had to fight Bull Bull twice. What about Tiger Ali? Remember him?
Oh
Like he
yeah.
had to, yeah, he had flash his little gem on his headgear, and oh dude, it was just an awesome game.
Incredible game. Love that suggestion. And I think that's definitely going to be on our list. So now it's my turn. What am I going to go with? And now we're getting into the stuff where now it's like we've named five. And like I said, I don't think we have to stop at 10, but we might have to go back and eliminate. Right now, I'm going to name one. This is a game that I loved and I thought was an incredible game. I'm going to go with Contra. Specifically for me, it's Contra Hardcore. I loved Contra. I thought it was an awesome game, a tough game. I loved playing it, and just one of my favorite games of all time. I just remember sitting in my basement trying to play and trying to win that game. I played it over and over and over, and it's like, oh man, I have so many lives going into this next level, and then failing, and then all right, we got to start again, and just one of those games too that when you die, you hand over the controller to someone else. You know what I'm talking about? It's
Oh
like you're
yeah, yeah,
playing, oh,
absolutely.
I died.
Especially when it's a
Now it's
one
your
player
turn.
game and you got your buddies over and you're like, all right, like everyone gets a crack at the level, and like you're the worst part about that is like you're rooting on like your boy at the same time you want to see him fail because you want to beat the level. You know, you're like,
Yes, yeah.
yeah, and then there would be arguments like, oh, dude, you thought, no, that's bullshit. Like, I got killed because of this, and then like, if you're like an asshole, you hold on to the controller, you're like, it's my game, or at my house, I get to play it again.
Wow. Well, Timmy, mine was more of, and I'm sure you experienced this, a more of a brotherly thing. You know what I mean? When we were
Mm,
playing, and then it was my brother wanted to play, and so we would just go, and then he would get pissed. Yeah. And there was always the kid, if you had a friend come over or someone that would say, "Oh, that wasn't fair how I died. I should get another
right.
turn." And it's like, well, that's not how we're doing it.
Yeah.
I know I just played for 10 minutes and I did okay and got far, and then you went for 30 seconds and died. But
Yeah,
hey,
you're like, and we'll talk about this in a second, but like Super Mario is obviously going to be up there, but like you start the board out and you accidentally like fall into a fire, and it's like, and you're like,
yeah,
come on, that was like 2 seconds. I barely got to play.
exactly.
Yeah,
So, Contra Hardcore, great memories for me. I love that game. Incredible game, old school. Timmy, we've named six so far.
yeah.
Now it's
Um.
up to you.
All right. So, damn. All right. So I'm gonna go with. Oh man. All right. I'm gonna go with Mega Man.
Ooh, loved Mega Man. I
So
love Mega Man,
my
definitely.
my buddy Kirk Kleinschmidt across the street, um, he was the Nintendo guy. So I had Sega, he had Nintendo, and like we would have sleepovers at his house, and we would play Nintendo. His Nintendo was set up in the middle bedroom. I remember this like it was yesterday. We play like off road. We play like all sorts of games, right? But the one game that we always played was Mega Man, and that was a one player game, and you go board for board, right? Like or if you die, right? So that was it. Like you played until you died, or if you beat the board, yeah, you got to pass it off to your next buddy. So the biggest thing, and I think this is one of the original games that created like the boss at the end of the stage, right? Like you played Mega Man, and there was like it was just so basic. It was like Woodman, Airman. You got to beat like all the like. It was like the most like bullshit like stuff.
Waterman.
Yeah, like oh, this guy throws water at you. You're like, oh god, like, but I got Mega Man. Like, if you look at these names of these guys like that you had to beat, it's like hysterical. But like, dude, I remember staying up all hours of the night. Like we'd look over the clock and it'd be like 4 o'clock in the morning, and we're like fighting Woodchuck Man, like like all hours of the morning, and being so tired the next day. But that was one of the best games. And it went up to I think Mega Man like 20 or something like that. They had like so many different games, but Mega Man was always a great game.
Amen. I love Mega Man. And Timmy, I'm going to go right into it. And this is one I'm going to put on the list. And like I said, we're going to name more than 10 and we're going to shorten it. Okay. But right now, I'm throwing out Zelda. Okay. And I'm throwing out Zelda. And I know we've talked about where the scoring, I guess, for our games is going to lie. And this is strictly for me. I'm throwing this out for the people. I know there's a big Zelda following. I know that people are obsessed with Zelda, and I'm specifically talking about retro Zelda. Okay. And I know people will take offense to that too. Nintendo 64, there was a different Zelda that came out that I enjoyed. But the Zelda back from the NES wasn't for me. Super Nintendo wasn't for I just never got into Zelda. I never got into it. I never loved it. I remember kind of liking the cartoon when I would catch it here and there, but
Yeah.
I just Zelda is an all-time game. You can There's no denying that it's an all-time game, and that's why I am putting it out there on our list that we will, but that's where I'm putting it out there, Zelda.
Out. Oh, Zelda. Zelda sucked, dude. I'm out on
Oh
Zelda.
man, we're gonna
I
we're gonna upset a lot of people with that.
Dude, Zelda is so out, dude. I'm so out. I remember like it was just such a bad game. I remember like they tried to make it special because the cartridge was gold. Oh,
Yeah,
heads up.
that is
Oh,
decent though. You can't
yeah.
deny the gold
Uh,
cartridge was decent.
yeah, you know what? I was happy that it was gold because I knew it was the wrong one to grab. I'm like, oh, there's Zelda. I gotta fucking stay away from that thing. It's gold, you know?
Good point, Timmy. I agree with you. I'm not a Zelda guy. I never was and never will
Um,
be. Maybe if I were to go play Zelda now, I don't know. Would I like it? I don't know. But never really dug Zelda.
yeah, and you know what's I'll talk about this a little later, but the simplicity of these video games
It's great.
is what I think makes them so entertaining, Tom. Like the stuff that we are accustomed to now, there's 25 buttons on every controller. You got to do this guy. Like it takes, a kid with, full blown ADD to play these video games, and they just have gotten more complicated over the years. But that's why I think these games have been so great. There was two buttons, and yeah, you just had to work the shit out of that controller to be able to make that jump or hit that shot or make that
Three
move.
buttons on the Sega controller,
Yeah, yeah,
mister.
yeah. All right. So, Tom, I'm just going to kill two birds with one stone, and it's the flagship video game for each system, and that's Super Mario Brothers and Sonic. And I think
Boom. They're on the
I,
list. Those are one and two. I guess
yeah.
we're gonna have to debate what's one and what's two. Well, Super Mario's to me is number one.
So yeah, I think Super Mario is definitely the better of the two, but they're both flagship, games for a reason. Sonic represents Sega, and Super Mario Brothers represents NES. And I would say if I was to pick that Super Mario 3 is probably the best Mario Brothers game, and I would say probably Sonic 2 was probably the best Sonic game. That's
Yeah,
just my opinion. And dude, when it was great because like those are the games that came with the system, and Super Mario 1 obviously and Sonic 1 came with Sega, and Super Mario came with NES, but those are pretty solid games that come with the system. Like you're like that's the throw in. Like okay, that's one of the better games like of all time for each of these systems, and kudos to the creators to be able to identify that and roll with those two video games as flagship games.
and I love both of those games. I would say Oh man, that's a tough decision. I love Sonic, dude. I thought that was such a great game, and I remember playing it, and I love the soundtrack for Sonic, and not that I don't love it for Super Mario Brothers, but both of those games are great. I have to give it to Super Mario just because it was first. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it was the original, and to me that's it for me. So Timmy, I'm gonna name a couple right now that I'm gonna throw on our list, and then I will name our whole list, and we'll go from there. So I'm gonna name the Ninja Turtles arcade on it. To me, it was one of the first games that a couple people could play together. You know, I remember being at a sleepover as a young kid in the Ninja
Mhm.
Turtles game, and we were both playing, and it's like, yo, you got to move so we can keep moving on the screen. And another one that I love is Streets of Rage. Streets of
Oh,
Rage
dude,
was one of
Streets
my
of
Rage 2 in particular, but
yeah,
Streets of Rage was one of my favorite games of all time.
yeah. Streets of Rage was badass. I remember like the second one with like I think it was like Blaze, and then there was the kid that roller skated that jumped on his head. Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that kid. Um, Streets of Rage 2. Again, that was you fought. All right, so like Streets of Rage, and there's a lot of similarities between the two. Like Streets of Rage is essentially like NES's like Double Dragon, right?
Right. And I never loved Double Dragon. I thought Double Dragon was so cool, but I was never very good at it. I don't know
It
if I
was
was.
it was very clunky. It's like a clunky
Yeah.
game, very slow moving. Like Streets of Rage had like better graphics, and like they had those specials and shit like each guy got. Uh so the Streets of Rage is on my list. Contra was on my list, which you already mentioned. A couple games for me, I'm just going to throw out there that I love, and I'm just going to go by system. So for Sega, for me, it was Quackshot, which was like me and my brother played this game all the time. It was Donald Duck Quackshot. It was like a Tomb Raider. Dude, it was like a Tomb Raider like type deal where Donald Duck was like this like treasure hunter, and like he had like a plunger that he would use as his weapon. That was like his sword or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that was his thing. And me and my brother played this game for hours, dude. Like we would pause it, go to a family party, and come back, and like we would fight each other to get up the stairs to see if like yeah who could get the controller first. Like that game was insane. Um, let me see what else I had on here. Let's see, Quackshot. The Lion King was really good. Aladdin was really good.
Aladdin was one that I had. I loved Aladdin. I thought that was a great game.
Yeah. And then two other sports games for me. One was Sports Talk Baseball, which I love for Sega. And
Ooh,
then
is that the one that I'm thinking of? Because there was like a specific baseball game that I did love playing, but I don't remember the name of it.
but Sports Talk Baseball was one of my favorites, and also uh, it cannot go any NHL game for Sega was incredible, but NHL '94, it's been in movies, it's been in like people references this game. I used to play it with my buddies in college where it got crazy, man. Like it was just such a great
94 or
game.
95? I guess both of them, huh?
94. It was 94. But that those are my games. My arcade game that cannot go on unmentioned. There's two. I'm gonna say NBA Jam, and then
Loved
all.
NBA Jam.
Welcome to NBA Jam. Remember that?
He's on fire.
Yeah. And then Street Fighter. Street Fighter.
Street Fighter,
This is an
clearly.
all timer. And then last couple more. I'm just going to run through. I know we are limited on here time, Tom, but for Nintendo, I had Double Dragon on there. I had Ninja Gaiden, Skater Die, any variation of the Turtles that was always fun. Um, Marble Madness,
Oh
RBI
man.
base, RBI baseball,
RBI
and
baseball. That was the
yeah,
game. I loved RBI baseball. Great
RBI.
game.
So there was three really good games for NES, and it was RBI baseball, it was Baseball Stars, and it was Little League baseball. All three of those games were just insanely awesome.
Oh, this is a tough list, dude. Because one that the did we talk about? I mean, and I even went back to some more retro ones. I was throwing out Pac-Man. I loved Frogger as a kid. Um, I know those are like bizarre games, but I played a lot of Frogger. All right, so we got to narrow this down, Timmy, to at least our top 10. So let's pick them. Give me your number one and two. We're going Sonic and Super Mario Brothers, right? Not like this is in no specific order. We're just trying
I
to get
think
10.
I think we have to take those off the list because
No.
they're I think they're just guaranteed. They're just like the 1 and 1A goats. They're the both the goats. So like
Right.
it's
They're on the list. So
all right,
where
fine.
else do we where do we go from there?
All
What's
right.
number three?
So I think Super Tecmo Bowl, Tyson's Punch Out are both on the list.
Okay.
I
I
think
love that.
that's I think that's yeah, I think Mortal Kombat has to be on the list.
I agree. Mortal Kombat has to be on the list.
I think NHL 94 has to be on the list. I think Madden has
Ooh.
I think Madden has to be on the list.
Or see, it's hard for me to have Madden and Tecmo because Madden for me wasn't until after.
See, Madden was a Sega game now. So like
Yeah, it was on
this
Sega. All right. What about so we got this, we got this, and sorry everyone, we're just trying to get through that. Ba, 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 ba.
dude, we forgot RC Pro Am. Like that game was awesome.
I was a big Road Rash fan. Did you ever play Road
I
Rash?
love Road Rash. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was me and my cousin's favorite game.
yeah. All right. Eight, nine. So we've got seven. We've got Sonic, Super Mario, Tecmo Bowl, Tyson Punch Out, Mortal Kombat, NHL 94, Madden,
I mean, do
and
I think we had to put like Street Fighter 2 on there, right?
Street Fighter. That's iconic. I think that one gets just the nostalgia points. Everyone knows Street Fighter. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
there was people, and if you want to go arcade game too, like dude, WWF, uh, what was it? Royal Rumble?
That's
That
arcade.
yeah, that was arcade too. But
That's tough because I'm thinking in our
Contra,
house more.
I think Contra has to be on there.
I'm
Any
gonna do
variation of Contra.
okay, and that's gonna leave us with one more. So that would be nine. So right now we've got Sonic, Super Mario, Tecmo, Tyson Punch Out, Mortal Kombat, NHL 94, Madden, Street Fighter, Contra. And then we have one more to say. We're not going to do Zelda because that's not for us. That could be in that list easily, but that's not for us. Um, Blades of Steel, I mentioned. NBA Jam. You feeling NBA Jam?
Yeah, I think, dude, I really think Mega Man maybe. Dude.
Quack Shot,
Love Quackshot.
Aladdin, Sport Talk Baseball, Ninja Turtles is up. The Streets of Rage is really up there for me. I mean, we've thrown a lot in
What?
there. Dude, I gotta be strong and firm on this one. I know you didn't love it, but FIFA is an all-time soccer game, dude. It's like an
Oh, dude.
all-time game. I know that's not on your list, but I haven't fought you on any of these other ones on here, and I'm gonna have to. I gotta go to bat
I'd
for.
rather I'd rather go Blades of Steel or like fucking ice hockey, dude. Like FIFA, come on, man. Like that's
FIFA's up there
brutal.
for me, dude. FIFA is up there high. That's brutal for you, but you didn't play soccer. I was, playing soccer all the time, and it's an all-time game. It's FIFA.
You're forcing this on me.
I'm gonna say FIFA 95 is specifically for me, but FIFA to me is definitely a more playable game than Madden was on Sega.
No way.
We talked about the simplicity and the game. I mean, I think it's a mistake to have two football games on, but I Madden, you can't. There's no denying Madden. I might be forcing FIFA 95 on you. I know you don't love it, and I'll put in hyphens next to it. Tom's pick. Tom's.
Well, we're gonna put the list out to the people, and the people will decide, and the people will speak, Tom. And I will say that the people will rule in my favor.
So we've got Sonic, Super Mario Brothers, Tecmo Bowl, Tyson Punch Out, Mortal Kombat, NHL 94, Madden, Street Fighter, Contra, and FIFA 95. It's a pretty great list.
Altered Beast, remember that game?
Streets of
Oh,
Rage is really great for me too.
Castlevania.
Castlevania I never played, so I don't know, but I hear that's a very good game.
Dude, what about Game Boy? Remember Game Boy? Ooh.
I loved Game Boy. Wait, you know what? The what was the Sega version of Game Boy?
um
I just remember you could play it at night because it lit
uh
up like the Game Boy.
Game Gear.
Game Gear. Love Game Gear. All
Yeah.
right, Timmy, we've given our list. We have it out there. The people will debate. I want to talk about one last thing before we sign off. Maybe two. Quick shout out to the Phillies who beat the Braves today, winning their series in extra innings. Big move for the Phillies, big win for the Phillies. Kyle Schwarber, 45 home runs now. He's gonna have 100 RBIs, 100 runs. What do you think, Timmy? The anomaly, the where are we at with Kyle Schwarber? I love the guy. I know he's only batting what, 200? Is he batting 200?
I mean, he's brought his average up. He is what he is at this point. Topper's not gonna bat him sixth or third or fourth or fifth. He's gonna stay in the leadoff spot. And look, they're at 84 wins, I think now, 83 wins, and they have, I think, 11 games left. It's looking like they're going to get a home series against whoever finishes in that third wild card spot. It's going to be crazy, man. It looks like another red October. Uh Turner's still playing well. Everyone's playing well, man, at this point, and I'm not worried about it. Castellanos had 2 home runs today. Did we have 3 players, and Harper hasn't even really played a whole season. It's shaping up to be another good postseason. I'm expecting a decent run from these guys. The bullpen still is leaking oil, but um, it's red October, man, and playoff baseball is going to be here soon, and I can't wait for it.
Yes, sir. I can't wait either. It's gonna be awesome. Timmy, what a great show. And before we sign off, real quick, let's get your thoughts on that Kelce documentary. I've loved it. I've watched it. I thought it was great. The living legend, the man amongst the people, Mr. Jason Kelce. I love him. I love him even more now after watching this documentary. I will tell you this. I was watching, and when they got to the Super Bowl, I turned it off. I said, I don't need to watch the rest of this. I stopped at the Super Bowl. I know what happens. I don't want to see it. I don't, I've lived it. I stopped there. Does that make me a bad fan? I don't know.
I love the documentary. As a fan, Tom, you have to suffer through the losses, and you got to celebrate the wins, brother. And it was tough to watch, but I got through it. And Jason Kelce is going to be probably one of the greatest Eagles of all time, and Philadelphians. So, and his wife looked insanely awesome too, going through that whole documentary. It was
He
really
looks
cool.
really cool. I like both of them a lot.
Great perspective. It was a really good look into some of the things that are behind the scenes, like you see stuff like a football player goes through, and holy shit, man, like the speech he gives before the actual Super Bowl happens was just incredible.
Yeah, it was. And
I actually cried like probably 3 times. I welled up. I like teared up.
we'll see.
Yeah,
No, me
well,
too. I watch that shit too. It gets me emotional. Obviously, we're both brothers, and the brother combination that they go on in the family. And you know more than me, but just the stuff that you're saying with what the football player has to go through and how much they sacrifice, really, and obviously they're compensated for it, but still, you're giving away years of your life to be out there and battling on the gridiron. And Jason Kelce, a legend. If you haven't checked it out, go check out Kelce Documentary. You're going to love it if you're an Eagles fan. And make sure you keep checking out Schmidt Lavelle, the best podcast maybe in the history of podcasts. I would say my mom probably agrees. And if you haven't done it yet, give us that follow, that subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your family. Timmy, anything you want to say to all the Schmidt Lavelleites out there before we sign off?
What would the world be without Captain James Hook?
We started with Hook. We'll end with Hook. We love you. New episodes every Thursday. Be sure to give us some comments. Have a great rest of your week. We love you.